The all-in-one speed paint by the Army Painter is truly a one-coat painting solution. Simply apply one rich coat of speed paint directly over a primed miniature, and you're done. Speed paint will leave that part of the model with intense shading, vibrant color, and a highlight effect in one application. The Speed Paint Starter Set includes 10 smart color choices to begin your speed painting journey, like vibrant primary colors, highly saturated secondary colors, and the perfect combination of composite colors to get those models finished in record time. Every bottle of speed paint includes 2 rust-proof stainless steel mixing balls preloaded in the bottle for easy mixing, and a Wargamer brush absolutely free. Armed with speed paint, you can take on armies of miniatures insanely fast, all while achieving a dramatic and fantastic tabletop standard. Army painting has never been easier.
Talk about She-Hulk. I've watched that.
That's Steve's finally seen it. Well, hey everyone, Dave here from Band of Badgers.
You took me completely by surprise. Normally there's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I did. I said 5.
Oh, we're live?
I said 5. That was it. Hi everyone, we're back.
Hang on. Have I got 2 stars? Where did that happen?
Well, so I was going to get into that, but I'll tell you now. So Craig stepped in for you last time, and
Yeah.
he won. He won you a star.
Ah, awesome.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much.
There you go. See, it's not all bad, is it? So anyway, hi everyone, I'm Dave. This is Band of Badgers, and this is not the Great British Brush Off. This is the epic British Brush Off, because we are painting the Epic Encounters, the Ghoul King from our friends over at Steamforge Games. This is a humongous set. It is pretty... Well, you can't see under that camera, so I'm not sure I'm showing it. It is pretty terrifying. It is probably the first set I've seen, which is not something you would have seen in the Monsters Manual as a whole, okay? So this is something very, very different. It's not exactly undead, but kind of really, really gross. Now, anyway, enough of that. This week, we're joined by our guest painter. This is Mike, everybody. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing really well.
It's
I'm
good to see
learning
you back
about
again.
the time difference between you guys and I, and just balance it out.
It is a bit hit and miss at the moment. We're sorting out cameras as well, so we're doing bits and pieces in the background. You'll see why in a sec with what's going on. But if you didn't know, check out our Witchlight series. I say series, we managed to get only 2 or 3 episodes of it.
Really good ones, though.
Mike is phenomenal, so do check it out. But we hope to do some more with Mike. I was going to say later in the year, but it's probably going to be 2023 now. So later next year. Because we're doing shows like this. So that's how it goes.
That's right.
Yeah. And you may have noted that Joe has finally grown out his hair. We're welcomed by co-host Josh. This is Josh McGuire from the McGuire Review. How you doing, Josh?
Doing well. Good.
Good. It's good to see you again.
Happy to be back on the paint show.
It is. We again. Josh has been on, I think, 1 or 2 times before. We've done some bits and pieces.
It was the Elementals show, wasn't it? He was on.
No, I think that was Eric.
No.
That was Eric Frankhouse,
No.
wasn't it?
Oh, it was Eric Frank.
Yeah. I was on a Goblin one, and then I was on
Mm-hmm.
another one. I've been on 2 or 3 of the paint shows.
So we've managed to wrangle Josh away from his own YouTube channel to come and join us for a couple of hours to paint up some epic encounters.
That's right.
And then there's Steve. So moving on, we got.
Man, Steve has to put up with this shit every week. It's just unbelievable.
It is. People tune in for this. This is great.
Yeah, they do. This is really. It's just. This is what they come for.
This is great. Now,
painting. No, we're good. What are we gonna say about Steve?
So Steve's back in the UK. We have missed him. We have missed you, Steve. It's been better without you, but it's glad to have you back. It is nice to see you again. So Steve,
the bromance is real. Yeah.
Yes. Big tough Pete in live chat there. Yeah, the bromance is over. He left us and the channel to go to some other country to do work, as if work is more important than badges. Indeed, it is, because it pays the bills. If badges paid the bills, it might be a different story, but I have to pay a lot of bloody money.
Yeah, that's true.
To all of us. So,
Yeah, got wings.
boom, we should be back. Are we moving, everyone? For those of you who are joining us live, this is live because shit goes wrong. Shit happens.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Let's find out how this goes. That's it. That's all we can do. Anyway,
We're good. We're good.
we're
have
here.
sound,
We
have
are
vision.
here. Now, where were we? We were talking about Mike. What is the monster from this Epic Encounters that you are going to pack? You can take more than one. What are you going to go for?
I did. I grabbed the big brawler right here,
Yeah.
Nice.
and then the tyrant, which is the mid boss for the encounter. I love that Epic Encounters does this breakdown of 2 boxes.
Yeah.
One with all the mobs, and then it has a big mid boss, and then you have a second box that has like the big battle.
The big boss, yeah. And the big boss is nasty.
Yes, it's kind of a mix of a big purple worm, but it's also like undeady,
Yeah.
bully, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. It's just amazing to think about the encounters you can build with it.
Definitely. I mean, it looks like you could do all kinds of creative stuff with like a saliva, like glue dripping down, but
Yes.
saliva, and yeah, all kinds of stuff you can do with that. Unfortunately, they didn't send us that one, Steve Forge. You didn't send us that one. You only sent us the box with all the pieces on it. So that's what we're going to go for. So yeah, the bulwark is the technical term for that one you've picked out. I've painted both of them now. And I've picked like a purple color and a green color, so I've got variants on there. Josh, what about you?
I'm doing the and I got 2 of them primed up, just in some black primer. I think it's called the Strider, or the Stalker. I
The
think it's called
stalker, like that dog-looking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Stalker officially there in the book. I don't know. This gave me kind of a Dark Crystal feel.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
You know,
Yeah.
so when I saw it, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna, because I didn't go for this. I didn't go for this one initially,
Yeah.
right? I kind of went for that brawler one. Thought, oh, that looks really cool. It's got some different pieces on it that you really can make pop. But when I saw this, I thought, oh, you know what, that's kind of like the Dark Crystal. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Nice.
Thought it was pretty cool. So I got 2 of them primed up here, and but I'll probably just work through one.
Steve, what have you got planned?
I've also got the Stalker
Cool.
because I haven't painted any of those yet.
Nice.
I've also got the other Worm Rider
Yeah.
that I'm going to do slightly different to my other one. So I'm going to try and do both of those tonight. We'll see.
Cool.
But the Stalker will be first.
Cool. Great stuff. I am, for the very first time, I am going to attempt the Broodsire. He is the boss of this particular box. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm also going to be doing some some paint touch-ups on some of the other things. So there's my Stalker that I painted before. But you'll see that when I switch cameras around, you'll see it properly. But there we go. So what I'm going to do, guys, is Mike, you can switch your cameras around. You can get yourself into painting positions. Steve, you can do that as well. And for me and Josh, I will find where the buttons are and I will switch us around. There we go. Everybody into your optimal painting positions. I don't know what that meant.
Assume your optimal painting positions.
Josh, before we went live the first time, Josh was in his very optimal painting position. And he was just like, hey, look where the camera is.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be that kind of show. So we decided to go a different direction. And, you know, I mean, everybody can let us know if that was the right choice or not. But
yeah, we can say things like, that's why it's called a mini cam. But anyway, well, we're not going to go there. It's not that kind of show.
Yeah,
of course it is.
That's so good.
I just the viewership just went down.
Yeah, we just lost like 6 people.
People just tuned out. Yeah, there we go. Yes, it's that kind of show. Right. Yeah. So there you go, everyone. So this is the book that you get inside. Now this details everything that's in there, but this is the guide that I'm going to be trying to paint. And on the back, you get a breakdown of all the various minis included in the box. They are truly gruesome. Plus, on the right hand side of your screen, you'll see various messages appear, and you see the renders. We have the renders of these models. Steamforge Games was very generous in sharing those with us, so you can see how much detail is in some of these minis. They are incredible. But I'm gonna try and paint this little monster. He is truly disgusting. I think we've had previous guests on. I think Steve, have you painted this one yet?
No, I haven't. No, I've not painted that, and I haven't also painted the 2 lieutenant ones, the bulwarks.
The bulwarks. I think Joe gave it a go, and yeah, it was. It looks
the last
good.
episode I was on. Yeah, he did the bulwark, didn't he?
Yeah. The brood sire. Brood.
Yeah.
Sire?
No, I think he did the bulwark, same as you.
Maybe it was the one you weren't on, Steve.
Right.
Where were you, Steve? But yeah, there we go.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, there we go. Mike, so
Yes.
talk us. We don't have a face cam on Mike. We don't have a face mic. We don't have a face cam on Mike. So you've only got his hands. So he is going to talk with his hands. He's going to show us what his plan of attack is.
So I did think about the what's the name of the mid boss?
The bulwark. Him. This guy that I've used. Yeah, this is the brood sire. Basically, all of these maggoty worm things, they come out of his belly. They grow out of his belly, and then they drop to the floor. And then I don't know if they turn into things, or turn into those giant purple worms that we were talking about earlier. But they are, they're nasty. But
yeah, I was that was my first pick, but then I see the bulwark, and I was like, I want to work with that. That's a lot of textures. It's a lot of different zones, different. And kind of like you, I was thinking about doing something like purple and pinks.
Yeah.
But I want to try and experiment with a little bit more fleshy tones and do it a little bit more ghoulish. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I've been. These are the 2 on screen that I've got now, and I think they've come out really well. I mean, it's just there's the purple. You can see so much detail in these. I'm using Army Painter Speed Paint at the moment, and have been really impressed with how they're picking up the detail. But this mini, and I say it every episode, so I'm going to say it again. It just reminds me of something from Resident Evil. This is something that's like still growing, still mutating, and it's just going to hunt you down. We were talking about what we were going to talk about, but this just popped in my head. Did anyone see the news that they were going to make a Silent Hill movie, and the new Silent Hill remake is coming?
No.
I thought they had a Silent Hill movie already.
I think it's just a better one. It's like Resident Evil. The stuff will never die. There's always going to be an audience.
That was the case. I mean, they made the announcement, and
Yeah.
today the internet in the morning was just going on back and forth, and memes and opinions and takes on it. So
Yeah.
So there's sites that are looking for it.
Is it the Resident Evil TV show's out on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it though.
No.
No. To say how bad it is probably worse than the current Walking Dead.
Oh wow.
I was not impressed. However, I did enjoy the TV movie remake that they did of Resident Evil, which had Stephen Amell's brother. I don't know his name other than Amell. Who was in the Flash. He was a character in the Flash. He was Firestorm in Flash.
Who's Firestorm? Yeah.
So him, and it has the big guy from Umbrella Academy.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, the
That
one who plays Billy Batson.
Was that directed TV? I thought I saw it on the
Yeah.
the movie theater.
Oh no, I think it was limited cinemas.
Oh yes.
And then
was
over
it.
here, it went straight to a streaming service. I don't know if it's Netflix or
Gotcha.
Amazon or one of them, but I really enjoyed it. It was a weird mix of Resident Evil 1 and 2.
Yeah.
However, it was what's the guy in part 2? Leon.
Leon.
They made him into a really kind of a wet blanket.
Yes.
He was a bit of a coward and
Yep.
never didn't hold a gun before, and it's like, come on, man, this is.
I wasn't big on Resident Evil growing up, but my wife was, so she wanted to go see it. We saw it, and she was like, "This is very like there's scenes that are basically homages to
Yeah.
scenes in the game. So basically, they're replicating the sense of being in that playing for the first time and looking at the same thing, but live." And I was like, not that impressed because I'm just seeing it as a movie on its own.
Yeah.
And like the main character, Leon, feels like me, like very too mousy, too not main character. But yeah, it was fun though. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
No, it definitely wasn't terrible. It was some of it was quite well done. But I think now we've kind of moved on. We've moved on from Walking Dead and Resident Evil. We've got things like Kingdom. And if you've seen Kingdom, that is a terrifying zombie series. By everyone's silence, it sounds like you haven't seen it.
No.
No, never saw that one.
I know of it. I haven't watched it, and it is horrific.
Yeah.
Or is it?
So
It's a Korean
Oh, okay.
production. Really good.
It's kind of like it's Korean production kind of thing. It's set during the feudal samurai time.
Gotcha.
So imagine a horde of zombies versus samurais. But there's such an extreme twist to these zombies that is brilliant, and brutal, terrifying, all at the same time.
It's because you got Train to Busan as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet though, Stu.
Right.
I'm still waiting for that one to come on. But yeah, that's part of which universe is that part of? Is that the same as? Oh, what's the one in the school? Everyone's
we're all dead or something like that.
yeah, everyone's
Something
dead.
called.
We're all dead. One at the school, which is great. If you ever want to see high school kids turn into zombies and start eating each other, that's exactly what this thing is.
That's what you're looking for.
Yep. and then they start infecting the whole town. Yeah, that's a good series as well. But it's part of the same universe that Trains one, Steve.
Right. Yeah.
Because they mention it in there.
Aren't they doing a show that's like a follow up for Train to Busan? I thought I saw something like that, but I don't know if it's gonna be a production, like an international production, or this is like a Netflix adaptation type thing. But I've heard very good things. I haven't seen Train to Busan. I need to get on that.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, that's basically, snakes on a plane.
Yeah.
Just imagine trains on a zombie.
Trains on a-
Zombies on a train is basically it. Now look, we've hit the quiet spot. We're going to go.
Concentration.
Yeah.
Concentration mode. That's
It's concentration. How's everybody? What's the? Maybe we can talk through a little bit of. My approach here is started with that black wash, and I really like to do. It's kind of like it's a little bit of that slap chop, right? I kind of like to do a. I don't know how well you can see. I kind of like to do kind of a white dry brush down from the top, right? Kind of hit the parts that are going to be like brighter. So I go back and kind of hit those parts, and then get those paint bases over it, and it really gives a nice kind of natural, blend for the color that you're putting on top of that. If you got that white and black kind of under basing,
You're going for a dry brush zenithal prime.
well, I'm gonna do a couple different colors here on the skin. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna use a gray, and I'm gonna use like a really dark purple. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a wet blend about midway through it to kind of change that skin a little bit, the color of that skin. And then a little bit of dry brushing over that. It should look pretty cool when it's done. See how it turns out.
Nice. Which one are you doing again? The Stalker?
The Stalker, yeah.
Yeah, the terrifying thing with the Stalker is all of that skin looks like it's stretched. Like it's stretched over the bones. It is definitely horrible. It is worse than the zombie Dobermans. We're going back to Resident Evil. Sorry, folks.
Circle. Life is a Resident Evil circle.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes.
By the way, audience, if you have a question for anyone here, for Mike, who's our guest painter, for Josh, who's our stand-in co-host, even for Steve, you can talk to Steve if you want to. You can ask him questions. Shout out in live chat. If you have a story to share, shout out. If you have a really bad dad type joke, do share. We love bad jokes. But we're painting these up. If you want to know about different tips and tricks, ask your questions.
Absolutely.
We'll keep you posted as we do different things. I'm using. I'll zoom in a little bit for you so you can see. So this mini that I look in his shoulder, there is a human skeleton embedded into his arm. I mean, that is just gross. I know it's kind of getting close to Halloween, but that is just disgusting. But I'm just slapping on some Army Painter speed paints, which I've only recently discovered and fallen in love with. But you can see as it just fills in those recesses. Is horrifying.
Very much like the sculpt work on the boxes. One is very consistent, so you have your minions and your mid boss and your big baddie, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's always nice to run something and have miniatures that represent like the whole thing. So these are really good.
Have you got any of the other sets, Mike?
I've seen the one with the orcs.
Yeah, that is my favorite box.
Yeah, it is amazing. I love the bears, and it's just nice and different, and it has its own tone to it. So that one I really like. And I thought I saw one that has like spider motifs, but
Oh,
I don't know if that's already out or if I
yeah.
just saw like some kind of promo for it.
There is a spider one. It is absolutely horrifying. I do not like spiders, and it is. This is like the boss box. Thank you very much, Josh McGuire, for resubbing 11 months. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Cheers, Josh.
The boss spider has spider like eggs inlaid into its body that have burst, and baby spiders are coming out of it. It is horrifying.
Sounds brutal.
We've had the first bad joke. Where's Pete? Big tough Pete is in live chat. Steve, do you want to read it out?
My girlfriend broke up with me when she found out I only had 9 toes. Turns out she was lactose intolerant. I like that one. That was funny. That was a proper joke.
That was cringeworthy, Pete. Cringeworthy. I'm sure you've done worse than that. He's gonna go look at his book of jokes now. Oh, Pete, I'll send you a message. I had an idea for something we could potentially do in the new year, if you and Justin are around, or like the idea rather. But we'll have a chat, man.
Yes.
I was wondering, like, what's the New Year traditions over in England in general? Like, how's that?
Every year we like to change the Prime Minister. We're doing well at the moment.
Every month at the moment.
Yeah. We've had 4 Prime Ministers in the past 4 years, so that's going well. We're bringing that on. I don't know. We don't really do much for the new year. It's just kind of fireworks,
get together, family. Okay.
Well, weirdly saying that, because of the pandemic, we didn't do it for a couple of years, and then we're just like, nah.
let's keep on not doing it.
Yeah, just I don't have to go around the in-laws. What are you talking about? Why have we got to see your mum again? So it's actually been pretty okay.
Nice.
I am joking, really. I'm not. But we also have Halloween. We don't really celebrate it the way you do in the States.
Gotcha.
But we also have Bonfire Night, or Guy
What is
Fawkes.
that?
Really?
Yeah, Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes Night is.
Oh, Guy Fawkes. Okay, gotcha.
So remember the 5th of November.
Yeah.
And it's either where we celebrate the fact he tried to blow up government,
Or that he did it.
or that he didn't. I'm not really sure. I'm on the fence at the moment.
Let's see.
I'm not really sure what it is we celebrate. But Steve, font of all Google knowledge.
Yeah.
What do we celebrate Guy Fawkes Night for? That he did. Well, that
didn't.
he almost.
He did
Or
not
that he didn't.
blow up Parliament.
But
Oh,
he's
okay.
not. Okay.
But is that the official ruling?
That's the official ruling. We celebrate the fact that he didn't destroy Parliament.
But that's what we tell the police, isn't
in
it?
his attempt to
Yeah.
assassinate one of the royal family,
Everyone.
King Charles II, I think he was.
Yeah. But that's what we tell the police. Really like, yeah, down with the government.
I need a brown.
And of course was mimicked in V for Vendetta, weren't it?
Yes, if you've seen V for Vendetta, that's exactly.
The modern day interpretation of what happened.
That's
'cause there was
exactly
no
what
tube trains
happened.
back then.
That's exactly what happened. He kidnapped a girl, took her to her secret headquarters, and said, "This is what we're doing."
Would you say maybe this is for Dave and Steve? Would you guys? Well, I think for Mike as well. Like, would you say that that your painting approach, or maybe a favorite way of painting, has kind of changed over the years, or just over the show, right? Like maybe from where you started to where you are now, and not skill. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, maybe you started with just always using that brush and, going over every little bit, right? Trying to paint every little spot, right? Perfectly. Where, we've learned, we've done the dry brushing stuff, and we've done the wet blending and all the different techniques, right? Would you say there's a way that you think is kind of your favorite now, or you tend to be drawn to?
You can go first, Steve.
Yeah, I've definitely learned more techniques doing this show, and I do gravitate towards a particular technique, which is dry brushing. So I always used to fixate over making sure every single square millimeter of the miniature was covered with paint.
Yeah.
And now I don't, because if you prime in black, then you've already got the shadows in the recesses already there. So you're really then just painting on the highlights. So I definitely lean much more towards dry brushing and stuff like that, because it's quicker, and particularly when we're painting on stream, it's a huge speed advantage.
I think to that point, as you grow older, you learn that painting less makes it like you require more technique to use less paint to get a better effect. Like I used to do like different layers and different colors and tones and try to do everything and blend it as you were wet painting, but later on it's you can get the same kind of effect with less work. But just like Steve was saying, it's learning technique. It's kind of like cooking. It's more of the techniques that that you start using to not have to do the whole thing, but get the same result.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good answer.
What about you?
I've basically, this show has taught me how to paint. I didn't paint before this. I didn't play Warhammer or Games Workshop. I didn't paint. I like buying minis, and I like put minis on the table. But that's why we have this show, to teach me how to paint, basically. So technique wise, I don't know. We've tried lots of things. So the whole series of the Great British Brush Off, we do various techniques. We've done how to paint faces and eyeballs and skin colors and skin tones, big minis, small minis, mini minis. We've done mini minis, many mini minis. try saying that 10 times fast. But really, I've enjoyed it. That's the main thing, and I'm very much tabletop ready. I don't think I'm not into it where I've tried different things. I've tried washes and dry brushing and varnishes, metallics and shifters, texture paints. We've tried it all in the course of doing these types of shows, the brush off shows. For those of you who are watching, go to our YouTube, youtube.com/bandofbadgers. Please do subscribe. And I mean, definitely most recently, and I'm going to just kind of pimp it again, is these speed paint things. This is Army Painter speed paint. It kind of means you don't have to do a wash, because if I zoom in here, you can see this is one coat of paint, and it's found all of those recesses, and that will dry, and that colouring will stay. So it means I don't have to do a wash to do that. So certainly for tabletop ready, which is what I'm aiming for, that's brilliant. So I'm really enjoying painting things in that way at the moment. I mean, that will change when I learn another technique, but I think right now that is where I'm at.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? With like miniature painting, there's like so many different ways that you can do it, and you don't have to, like, once you learn a specific technique, or once you learn, I think that's why like miniature painting is just like this never-ending journey. Like, I don't see it as, you get to a certain level and then you're just like, oh, I'm done. Like, I'm like even if you're at sort of a master's level from a certain look, once you're done, it's like there's so many different ways to paint a model, and different approaches you can take. Like the other day, I painted this whole set of critters from I don't know. I can't remember the set name, but they had a bunch of these little animals, and I could have done it technically better if I would have painted every little piece and like washed and dry brushed just right. It would have looked different. But I kind of just went with this sort of watercolor. I didn't use a wash, and I didn't use a dry brush. I only used just shades of colors, right, to like create all that depth and the change in shading.
Yeah.
I just loved the way that it turned out, right? And it was like, I don't know, it kind of was like, wow, I mean, you can do these things in lots of different ways and get different effects and different looks, and it makes it kind of fun,
Completely agree. What about you, Mike?
Um,
How long have you been painting? Because you've been doing gaming, role playing, painting.
It's a curious thing, because I'm from Mexico, and I was about 8 or 9, coming out of church, very Catholic, and they had like a magazine counter right there, and they were selling this Spanish magazine that I had never seen, and it was a White Dwarf in Spanish.
Wow, yeah, I know White Dwarf.
And that had it had like a little gift, and it was just 2 rat tribe something. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know at that point this was fantasy Warhammer, but I just loved it. And as a kid, I loved like not miniatures, but I loved like action figures, like Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joes, things like that.
Yep.
And this was like, you can get your own, and you can put it together, and then you can paint it, and you can make it like you can choose your own selection of colors and what they're using. I didn't know what wargaming was. At that point, I wasn't even playing role-playing games. But I did get into that, and then I started just looking for miniatures like that. It was really hard in Mexico, but growing up, as I got older, I was able to go to the United States and then find that there was this huge hobby around it. And that's how I got into it. So
that's cool.
There's that's how I got into it and started doing it. And at first it was very elaborate. I was trying, you get into something and you want to do all the things and all the
Yeah.
techniques and paint as a pro. Um, till you get to that point where it's like you just want it to look good in the table and be able to play. And then as you go deeper into it, you start refining it, and you're trying to do good time at painting your whole army or whatever. But at the same time, you have those little nudges, those little changes, those little things that make it yours. So yeah.
And when you say you got into the hobby, is that also was that just painting, or is that also playing Warhammer?
So I did start playing Warhammer way back in the day, and that led me to other similar games. And I mean, as time went by, I started doing some other things. I would say like these hobbies have like a lot of different facets. You can collect them, you can put them together, you can like just getting these things because they're cool and putting it on on your bookshelf,
Mm-hmm.
or play the games, get into the lore, read the books, do all the things. And I have an issue with it. I start trying everything that's related just to see if I enjoy it, how much I enjoy it. And the problem is I like a lot of different facets of it. So
Yeah.
painting minis was, I mean, I've always like, I, I, I draw, I'm an artist, I paint. So it kind of mushes together a bunch of different interests. I love sculpture. I love uh, toys. I love toys at that point. So it all played together into it.
Cool. What about you, Josh?
Um, for me, I I don't know. I think my answer would be similar to Steve's. You know, I I think when I started out, that's the way it was. It was like I was obsessed. I would take forever to paint any type of miniature, right? And I was just obsessed with painting every little tiny little spot, and every line needed to be perfect. And I didn't really have a lot of the technique of like, okay, which pieces should be painted first,
Yeah.
right? So it was like I would always paint the pieces that made the secondary pieces that would be painting way harder to paint, right? So, that definitely changed over time. And I found that you don't have to really paint every little piece. You have to really understand how to do proper basing, which is actually pretty easy most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand how colors kind of work together. And I found the more you could use colors in ways to provide the shading and provide the color variations,
Yeah.
the better I think pieces will look, even if you don't have maybe that mechanical skill to get those just perfect straight lines, or those just, the paint just looks perfectly smooth even when it's done by hand, because you just know how to have it at the right thickness, and your stroke is just perfect, right? And if you don't have, everybody doesn't have that sort of that physical mechanical skill, so it's like it's a way to be able to use that shading and those colors to achieve what I think is actually sometimes even a better look, even a more of a realistic look. I've seen a lot of stuff online where people will do shadows with the use of colors,
Yeah.
where normally it would just be grays or blacks. But if you can master how to do shadows with colors, it's just like it's a whole new level. Like it's just phenomenal, right? And it really is just, it comes down to a technique of just knowing what colors look together and what colors will blend well together, and then just doing that dry brushing, right? Or that wet blending. And it's just, it can make some amazing stuff. So I definitely will take a I would say artistic approach depending on what I'm painting, and I will just kind of do that right on the fly. It's like whatever feels right for that model, that's what I go with.
Cool.
I don't lock myself into this like I gotta paint a certain way. And I've enjoyed it a lot more, to tell you the truth, since I've kind of made that mindset change. Because for the longest time it was like, nope, it's got to be like this. I got to paint it like this. It has to be done this way. And once I kind of just broke free of that and said, you know what, doesn't really matter. It's my model. It's my art. I'm probably going to think it looks cool at the end. That's all that matters. I think my models improved, mindset improved, and it was actually a lot more fun to just, sit around and paint.
I agree with that. There was the very first brush off show we did, we had V Muse.
Yeah.
And she came on, and we were doing the goblins, the Paizo goblins, Pathfinder goblins, and my minis were terrible, but both on and off camera they were absolutely horrendous, and it was like, okay, why the hell am I doing a paint show when I can't paint? What was the point? But the point is there was no other show out there with beginners painting. They were all experts showing different things, and V came on quite kindly to basically help us get started, and it has been really enjoyable. Now, I still have those minis. They are the first minis I painted live. But if you were to take that compared to what I do now, if I had given up, don't forget at that point I'd also spent a fortune on getting some paints, getting some brushes, getting some bits and pieces I might need. I don't think I would have been that happy. I think now I've got to a stage where although it is just for me, we're playing around tables again. I'm using the minis that I'm painting.
Nice.
In person and on streams, and it's great to see pre-painted or coloured in stuff that I've also done. Not just when you buy a pre-painted mini from WizKids, or a lot of the stuff. Steve will do a load of painting for me as well, because there's just too much to do. So I'm glad I continued in doing it, and it definitely helps by meeting other painters.
Oh yeah.
So you've got to go out, meet people. If there's a paint party nearby or at a convention, just give yourself an hour, put up a chair, sit with people who are painting, and just talk with them and learn with them. And the biggest thing is to remember that you can't get it wrong. The world's not going to end because you didn't paint the stormtrooper properly, or you can have multiple colour stormtroopers. They don't just come in the black and white. You can have any stormtrooper. You can have this thing. He doesn't have to. I'm going to make him green. I think green skin. But you can make him any colour you like. I'm a sucker for following the instructions, but I'm getting to the point where I'm ready to break free from the instructions and do the colours that I enjoy.
So I think that's something that you develop over time as well, is a favourite colour palette.
Yeah. And the confidence to let go of the instructions, let go of the safety rail.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as doing it wrong. If I painted this thing neon pink and put in some LEDs, it's just from the future, man. That's all it
right.
is.
Huh.
It's a Starfinder mini.
Yeah, I like that. that thought of like coloring however you want. And I've seen a lot of that stuff online where people do various different models and just go so far from the what's on the box, right?
Yep.
And it looks awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely don't ever be afraid of just pick up the model and paint it the way you want to paint it. That's part of the art. Unless you're going for that by the box look, right? For one reason or the other. Nothing wrong with that either, but
I mentioned conventions
Yes.
earlier, and Mike, one of your, as I know, one of your other creative outlets is your costume making for cosplay.
Yeah.
Where did you go? What was the last one you did?
The last one we did is my wife and I went as Legolas and Gimli to Comic-Con.
Very nice. Very cool.
Yes. It was very nice, and that's the place to feel good when people recognize and want to take pictures with you. My wife had never done it. She's very shy, but she felt like, why not? And we had a really good time.
yeah.
Yeah, I think conventions have that sense of we're all here to have fun,
Yeah.
try new things, do different things we haven't done before. Um, Now that we're talking about like starting and letting ourselves enjoy the hobby and painting and learning from other people, I see a lot of the convention circuit having new events where you just go and sit down with other people and you get minis, paint,
Yeah.
everything you need. You just sit down and go at it for an hour and paint your miniature and then take it home. And I feel that breaks that hard to get into the hobby line of people seeing it and saying, I gotta buy paints, I gotta understand what to do. I don't know which one is the proper toolkit to do this. I mean, even when you're doing it already and you see somebody do like this majestic non-metallic metal job and you're like, oh my god, what am I doing? Like that's technical skill, but it's also technical skill that was developed by just doing it, just painting a lot and figuring out things and figuring out how to do uh, uh, things the paint is not supposed to do. Like it's 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 just going and doing it. That's a trick for everything in life.
Yes, definitely. There's we went to the UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, and we basically just walked in through the front door of the event, and there was a painting table. It was a Citadel painting table in front of us, and for the whole, pretty much for the whole convention we were there, Steve. It was jam packed.
Yeah, there wasn't a space there the entire time.
Yeah, we just never saw a space, and it was exactly that. Pick up a Warhammer mini, and there was all these sets of paints available. You pick whatever colours you like. You sit down for an hour, and just everyone was talking, everyone was laughing, and smiles everywhere.
Yeah, parents for their kids.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the big
grown-ups on
pull.
their own. It was good. It was good, real community.
Pretty cool.
So
One of the big things I think that has changed in the last 2-3 years is because we were all stuck at home. A lot of people started sharing new hobbies with their family. I was looking at statistics. I'm an analyst, so I like information, data, and
yeah,
it's just it's candy for me. And I was looking at it, and 50% of the growing markets for hobbies, specifically for miniatures, board games, role playing games, are now people that are really young, and also that are sharing this with their family. Like they're playing with their brothers, with their cousins, with their dad, with their mom.
Yeah.
Um, and that's I think that's something that you also see in conventions now. You see more families going in and going to events, and like we just ran Gen Con. We had a room full of games, and like every table would get a couple of people that were related that were going in there just to share on this thing that one of them enjoyed or knew before, and they were bringing somebody else because they wanted to try because they've gotten to talk about it and just
Mm-hmm.
get familiar with it.
That's cool.
So that's good to see.
Yep.
Is anyone near? What's it this weekend? Gamehole Con. Was that last weekend or this weekend?
No, that's this weekend.
That's
this
this
weekend. Yep.
Is anyone going to that?
Nope.
No. I wanted to go because it feels like that's one of the conventions that you go to play
Mm-hmm.
with people.
Yeah.
But next weekend it's Big Bad Con over in San Francisco,
Gotcha.
and they're putting together a really good show, and a lot of effort to get people from underrepresented identities
Mm-hmm.
to go in there and talk about like how to get into the industry, how to build your own games, how to play test, how to do all this stuff. And that caught us because we're working on a number of projects. We're working on the guild stuff. We're working on
Cool.
actually writing and game designing for some publishers. So my wife and I decided to go like last minute, and that's when I found out like this was so close to Gamehole Con. So it was one or the other because we've gone all over the place this year. But yeah, Gamehole Con is it's a lot of fun. I'm seeing people tweet about it since early this morning because I guess people are getting there.
There's a lot of the stands and dealers are getting there and setting up, and I know Beadle and
Yep.
Grim are out there. Shout out to
Yep.
Beadle and Grim.
Yep.
So yeah, it always looks a lot of fun. It always looks more fun than the stuff we have over here, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have
So, you guys get that UK expo, and then is there anything else that's like that size?
that's the only thing that size in the UK. There are a lot of much smaller ones, like in gyms, that kind of thing. There's one in
Yeah.
like an aircraft hangar.
Gotcha.
But the next one that is something that we go to is Dragon Meet.
Okay.
Dragon Meet is a 1-day convention in a hotel, and there's gaming, there's dealers there, there's retail people there. It's sponsored by Paizo. Shout out to
Gotcha.
Paizo.
Yeah.
And we know through doing Band of Badgers and through doing this, we know more people now. So when we go there, there's people, weirdly, there's people who know us as we're walking around, and we can talk to people and chat with them. That's always fun.
That's cool.
And that's getting bigger though, isn't it? So they're moving.
Yeah, I
Next year.
believe they're going to be in the Excel Centre next year in central London. So they're moving from South London to central London. And that should be a much, much bigger event.
Oh.
But yeah, we'll be at Dragon Meet again this year.
When are we getting Badger Con?
Well, we did mention this. This has been mentioned a few times now. Yeah,
Okay.
because we said we do the Badgers barbecue, and that's once or twice a year, and we get all of our players together in the club. We've got about 70 real people in the club. And we just have a barbecue and play one shots all day. You got 3 hours to play, and then you stop and you rotate the tables and you go play a different game somewhere else.
And it is an all-day affair. I mean, it was probably about 1 o'clock before, but from what 9? We got there at 9, didn't we?
9 in the morning till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. So it's good. Very, very fun. We have a battle royale as well with everyone who's there. We have not exactly prizes, but as Band of Badgers, we get every now and then. For example, Epic Encounters, we get some freebies, and they go into a pot, and we have a big kind of draw. We encourage new DMs as well to play, so it's not just the regular DMs. It's encourage new DMs, and there's a big kind of lucky dip as well. So you've got chances of winning things. We had a guy win. Whoever won the battle royale also won a bottle of champagne, which was donated, which was great. So, and this last barbecue we had our first retail person come in, someone who owns their own business and set up a little private shop area. Must have gone home with £400 or £500 in their pocket. People he got a captive audience, and they all see like, wow, look, new minis. They all wanted to buy new stuff. So based on that, we were like, oh, what if there is a BadgerCon? Could you do a one-day BadgerCon?
Yeah.
So rather than we still do the barbecue, but we just encourage more retailers to turn up and play at the same time. They're not just there to sell; they're there to join us to play games.
Yeah.
So they play games, and then during the breaks, network and tell everyone about what it is that you sell or make. Lots of Etsy dealers. So you never know. Might become something. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
And then we get everyone internationally come over. BadgerCon, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll get everyone in the VIP party bus.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Gen Con next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Steve's going to be somewhere else, aren't you, Steve?
Yes. Yes.
I might have to meet Steve over there.
I'm going to be in Florida. And I did look up the airline ticket from Florida to in Indianapolis. It was £93.
Are you going for work, Steve?
No, I'm going on holiday.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're taking the kids to Disney.
Nice.
No, I don't get to go places
For work?
that are normally in civilized areas.
They keep you away from all the fun stuff, don't they, Steve?
Yeah.
Notice that everyone's gone quiet again because they're
It's
Concentration.
gone.
Concentration.
Yeah.
Yes.
we're gonna
Sounds like we're doing detailing now.
we give it a couple of minutes and then we will see where everyone is. See some current progress. Oh, I missed a bit. That's annoying.
Yeah, this is working out nicely. Finding myself using a little bit more dry brushing on this than what I planned, but I'm liking it. They're really needed. I'm trying to, creating sort of those different angles of light and color and getting that kind of stretchy feel from that skin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding that the dry brushing is doing a good job of that.
Yeah, on the
This is looking really good.
I used a purple on my one. It really showed that stretchy skin. It was just disgusting.
Oh, nice.
Let's see,
Do a dry. I'm going to do a bright purple at the very top of this, and it might be a mistake, but you know what? There is no mistakes.
Well,
Happy accident.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing about this box is you get multiples. So this particular Ghoulkin set, because you get multiples, it's like, well, I'll do something different on the other one. They don't all have to be uniform. I mean, these are supposed to be like these weird, fleshy, mutant abomination things. They're not undead, they're not devils or demons. These are ghouls of something you've... I mean, they are grotesque.
All right.
And here's the thing. This has been mentioned a few times now on this particular stream. Because this is not a monster you've seen in the Monsters Manual for 5e, for D&D. You put any of these minis on your gaming table. Your players, your lifetime players or DM players, they won't know what this is. So sometimes you get these players who know, oh, it's a goblin. It's only got 14 hit points.
Right.
We're fine. Oh, it's 20 goblins. They've only got 14 hit points. We're fine.
We're fine. Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And you say, you put this on the table? They're like, what's that? I didn't know what it... And you get an instant, what is that? I'm afraid. Yeah. An experienced player can suddenly become a newbie again. But like, I don't want to hit it. It might hurt me.
It's very leveling, actually. Very revealing.
Yeah.
Because your most experienced players normally are the most cautious.
Yeah, they don't want to roll first on initiative. They always like, oh, I want to hold back. I don't want to go first. What do I do?
Hey, Steve, since you do a lot of, you really like to do a lot of dry brushing.
Yeah.
Got a question for you. So something I do after I do a dry brush, right? And you got that nice color mix, right? That light to dark or whatever you've done, right?
Yeah.
And it just really adds, a pop to the, right? I mean, not dry brushing just to pick out the high points, but dry brushing to create sort of, color variation and whatnot.
Yeah.
I find myself, I like to go back after that, and because whenever you dry brush, right, it's the strokes of the brush. You're always going to have these little areas that don't get hit.
Yeah.
Right. I like to go back with that other color, and just very lightly kind of dab in some of those spots, and I find that it produces like it's almost like an airbrushed effect where it really looks like. You don't get any of those brush strokes.
Yeah. You get a stippled effect.
Yeah. You almost get kind of that, like if you used an airbrush.
There is actually a stipple brush, I think, that you can get. It's like a very, very short head.
Got kind of one of those.
Round sort of brush.
Yep.
But yeah, if there's a particular area that I want to highlight some colour on, I do the same. I would just dab rather than brush.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing now, is kind of like this little stippling effect all the way down and around. And it just adds sort of like some, differences in the skin as well.
One of the minis I did that I was most pleased with the end result, that was purely dry brushed, was one that I painted after we'd finished streaming, and me and Dave were just talking about like future shows, and I think we was watching one of the Drunken Mailbags or something like that, and it was a Naga, and I did it with red and green, so I went from red to green, but I just dry brushed everything, and then picked out all the highlights in yellow and stuff like that. It looked so good by the time I'd finished.
Yeah.
And it was just a complete brain switch off moment. Just did it as we was talking, and it's one of the best ones I've ever painted. And I can't remember if I've even given it to you or it's in the store cupboard somewhere, Dave.
You did give me. It was out of the fantasy box set,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was out of the Blacklist miniatures. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I think you. Handed it over. I think you lost it, Steve. I think it's gone
Best
forever.
model he's
Steve.
ever painted. Dave took it.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what stream it was for.
I think you may have done it for Scarlet Citadel.
Right. Okay.
There was a Naga in there, and actually Rise of the Rune Lords. If it's that far back, we had.
No, it wasn't Rise of the Rune Lords. It was
No.
probably Citadel.
Yeah. Spoilers. There's a Naga coming. Right, should we go around the table and see how everyone's doing at the moment? Let's see what they're starting to look like. Here we go. I'll show you mine. Let's move these ones out of the way. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Let's zoom in. What do you think?
I like that. That's a grim green.
It is, yeah. So I've gone with what green is this? This is the malignant green.
Yeah.
So there's the bulwark on the left, and then I'm doing the brood sire. And he's got these. You can really see them now. You can see these tentacles wrapped round this kind of hatchet thing.
Yeah.
His arm is just a whole mess of tentacles, and you got there's a human skeleton in there.
That's come out well.
You got all these
This looks cool.
bone protrusions on his back, look, which really do stick out. He's got some depth on those. He's got his butt flap. Even ghouls are modest.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Even he's got a butt flap.
and then on the base, I've really enjoyed doing these as the whole thing as red bases, which I've done on all of these actually.
Yeah.
And then you got the worms. You got a couple of skulls floating around. Like this is like proper squishy blood. I'm gonna do a gloss varnish on this. So all of that. It looks. See, that's not painting mistakes. That's because these worms are moving and they're sloshing through all the blood. That's what that is.
I like that. Yeah.
Great effect.
I like that color of worm that you went with there.
That is Crusader skin. I use that on all of them because I'm using purple, and I use that kind of very pale flesh tone.
Yeah.
And when it, again, as a speed paint, when it settles in the recesses, it gives a really kind of, if anyone is into fishing, a real proper maggot feel to it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it does. Yeah. I like that. Looks good.
Yeah, does look good.
So I'm probably not gonna finish him, but
That
yeah.
one's got a lot of detail.
There is a ton of stuff. There's metallics on here as well.
Yeah.
Flesh,
That
maggots,
one's got a
blood.
lot of detail.
Yeah. So
I
this is-
decided against doing that one specifically because I was thinking I cannot do 2 hours and finish this. I'm gonna end up with just
Yeah, there's
Yep.
no
I was the
way.
exact same way. Because that is by far the coolest. Like that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool model.
yeah. That off the bat, I was like, that's the one. And then when
Yep.
I was thinking about it, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to finish this.
Yep.
But yeah, cool. Right, Mike, how are you getting on?
I went with the maybe the light is not the best right here.
Let me get these out of the way.
Let's see. I don't know if you guys can get it, but
It's not picking up the color, is it?
it's no, I think it's coming up a little gray on camera, but
You're doing the Frank Skinner? Not Frank Skinner. Oh, what's his face?
Ah, actually did.
Sin City.
Oh, yeah.
Do like black and white grey tones with like a highlight of red.
It's a little bit grimy-ish, but it is skin. It's just very whitish. It has undertones of like reds and a little bit of purple, specifically here where it kind of has like some wing
Yeah, I
like
can see that.
protrusions.
Yep.
Um, and then on the arm, I started doing just like working on different dry brushes, but ended up going with a little bit more of gray and whites just to make it a little bit more bonish.
Yeah.
And I like how it went, and it kind of feels like a different section, different texture than the rest of the mini. So I'll take some
Nice.
pictures and put them up on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, please do. I mean, any pictures you want to take, please do share them afterwards. Yeah. Or during the show, or work in progress, whatever you want to do. If you want to share it, yeah, it'd be great. All right, who should we pick on next? Who looks like they're concentrating? Steve.
I'm just pouring out paint. I have to make sure I
Good
wipe
work.
my hands so I don't get paint on my mini. There you go. Is that showing up okay?
A little bit more in the middle, if you can, Steve. Oh wow! Look at
Oh
that.
wow! Look at you, Steve.
Oh, nice with all the colors.
That looks
Yeah.
amazing.
That's very cool.
Is that wet blending,
wet-
Steve?
Yeah, wet blended the magic blue and the blood red speed paints,
Wow.
and then I've been layering up browns and
Yeah, it looks
bone
good.
whites for the protrusions. And I do a little bit of dry brushing now, just pick out some highlights. I did highlight some of the high points with the orange speed paint, which is why you can see slightly different tone on the leg. But yeah, that's I do a bit of dry brushing now. I really like this. My favourite bit of this mini, weirdly, is like the ripped up rib cage is like an extension of the mouth.
Yes.
See that as teeth. You can't really see. The camera's not doing it justice on how much detail there is in there. It looks really good in person.
This is why I think this thing is so skinny. It's just all teeth. This thing
yes, it is.
has stretched skin over bone, and this thing is all teeth.
Yep.
I mean, that is nasty. Yeah. We are down to the last half hour, painters. We will take it to the top of the hour because we started late, so we're going to give everyone a little bit more time. So you're down to the last half an hour. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Let me show you here what I've done. All right. I think that lighter purple did work out well. See if you can see it here. I don't know when it's going to show up.
Yeah. I think your light is creating just a little bit of a shadow.
Yeah. Ugh. So hard to figure out how to get.
Yeah. I love the base. It looks like rotten flesh.
Yeah, so kind of a use of greens
Yeah.
and browns there on the base to kind of create. And then what I did was I went with grays and purples to kind of create that kind of rotten type skin.
Yeah. Oh.
And that stretchy kind of skin. And it blended really nicely. I didn't want to. I was questioning about this like lighter purple at the top, but it really worked to blend those two colors. I don't know. It doesn't work. It doesn't show too good on the camera, but I don't know. Let's see if I can get it closer.
Yeah.
Then
I really like that colour scheme.
Yeah.
It complements the green really well.
Weirdly,
used on the base.
on those back legs, it almost looks like it's translucent skin.
Yeah, yeah.
That is quite horrific. It's like, oh, it's just skin. That
that was the look. So it really, I think it kind of worked pretty well.
Yes.
Now it's kind of like filling in the bone work and the eyes. Probably do like just a white dot for the eyes. And then underneath, probably can't see it very well, but underneath there's like a richer. Why does this thing like not? It's like I'm right on the camera, but yet it's not.
Yeah, you gotta separate it a little bit down so that it focuses. There you go. Oh, it went back.
Almost.
There, you got it.
Now it's like so hard to get to it. All right. Well, underneath there's like a mouth that's underneath this thing, right? It's kind of like opening up. It's like rib cages is kind of opening up.
Yeah.
And I did the same rich purple in there, but then wet mixed with a little bit of red. So it's got this rich, like just fleshy, like inner. And so I think when I get the bone on there, I'll use a bone color here to get all that bone on, and then it'll look pretty cool. I think the only thing I would do later is I'll use a little bit of this gloss varnish, and I'll do the tips of like the feet kind of coming off of the ground, to give sort of a slick, wet look.
Yeah.
And then I'll do probably a bright green. I don't know if I'll use a bright green or a dark green, like grass all the way around the outside to snug right up against this. I think it'll look so cool. I love basing too. That's another thing that like is an artwork. I feel like that's an art form, like doing basing.
That's something we haven't really played with that at all. It'd be nice to do. We should do a special on that, Steve, somehow.
We should, because I would really like to give that a go. And learn how to do it properly, because I agree with Josh. It is a bit like a mystic art to me.
So if you're happy to be watching this on YouTube and you're really good at basing, do get in touch, and then maybe we can sort out a basing special. Or maybe if you make basing stuff, get in touch. I've just got this worm coming out of his belly, and it's sickening. This maggot is literally coming out of his belly.
I did my worms in like a purple, and I kind of wish I would have used kind of like a color like you did. I think it looks better. But my thought was to do the worm and the purple, and then come back with this sepia wash, sepia wash, and that will actually look really good on top of that purple. Okay. Ooh, this paint pot is horrible. I got some new dry brushes and I love them. Just cheap, like $1.16 a piece on Amazon. They're makeup brushes, and they work so good. I use the brand Wet and Wild. I like to get a little wet and wild when I paint. They're great. They work fantastic.
You know, I remember my friends used to hate dry brushing because they would mess all their good, what they thought was their good brushes. But it's just you need the particular type of brush to do it, and it's not gonna be your detail brush. It's just don't use the same things for different applications.
Yep.
put some pictures up on Twitter because it looked like I did my Sin City impression over here, but I swear it's colored. I did paint stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Go, we'll all put stuff up on after we're done. Go check out the different social medias. We'll put these up when they're final. And you can really see what's been done. Sometimes it's kind of hard on the show unless you got like a Dave quality setup, right?
Because I'm also I was gonna say I'm also the painting beginner, but this is
yeah. When Dave's got like the pro setup, right?
I've got all the
like
gears.
a phone hanging over this little table with like this shitty little light, like producing all these shadows. I'm like, oh, can you see it? It's right here.
Let me move the table so you can see the minion.
I got all the gear, but no idea how to use it all. There we go.
Yeah. Where Dave's, it's like, oh God, Dave, that looks fantastic. We can actually see it. Oh.
I got lights. I got an arch. Got the camera going. Got bird's eye view. Zooming, I can control.
I think this is the best painting show on the internet, to tell the truth.
There you go. That's the kind of responses we like. I don't think it's the best painting show on the internet.
It's the best painting show there is.
When I talk to, because I talk to painting companies and I talk to, for example, like, here's some Dogmite stuff, for example, up here. Go check them out because they make fantastic accessories, and this is I think this is their first painting accessory, but do go check them out. But when I was doing the research, there was no beginner show. They're always professional streamers. They're all doing like something I could only dream of doing. There was no one going, yeah, you know what? I'm not embarrassed to show how crap I am. And I'm like, that would be a show that I would watch.
Yeah, that'd be a show.
That's how you learn. You got to sit down with people that are also going through it and that do something and then feel like, oh, I should have done this, or I like this thing you did. Because, yeah, you sit down and you see a 20-minute video of somebody who's a pro and is doing it for a publisher. And they go like, you do this and that, and then you just sprinkle some of this, and boom, there you go. And you see it, and it's obviously a magnificent work of art. And you feel like you didn't get anything.
Yeah, you dip your brush into your paint, you apply it, you go, well, my one doesn't look like that. What am I doing wrong? You think you're broken?
Exactly.
I don't think I still haven't seen anyone like us. There's still professionals who go, here's some great beginners tips, but also the way. Again, the best way of learning is either put us on in the background and do some painting and just listen to us come up with just absolute gibberish. But even if we were together in person, we would still talk as much crap as what we do now. Talking about
that is true.
Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, whatever you want to talk about, we would talk about whether we're in person or not in person. I think that is what resonates with people.
So what's your thoughts on Rings of Power?
I really liked it. I did. There's mixed feelings.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I haven't finished it.
Oh,
but don't spoil it for me.
I'll try.
I'm way behind. It's embarrassing, like how far behind I am on.
I'll try not to, but it's about a ring.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
So, I'm
on episode 5 or 6. So
I think there's only 6 or 7.
It's 8.
Is it 8?
8.
Yeah.
I think it's 8.
And I think the best thing about it was me and my wife, we watched the first episode, and we were like, wow, that felt like watching a film. Now it was only like 50 minutes, but it felt like, wow, we just watched Lord of the Rings. The dialogue, the big scenes, they took their time, and I was like, that was amazing. I want to see some more. And I think did we get 2 episodes at launch?
I believe
It was three, the first three, I
three.
think.
I believe the first 2 or 3 were out the
And
first
then-
week.
And then we saw the elf, and he was brilliant. And so spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the first few episodes, fingers in your ears. He was brilliant. But then his mates, they all get caught, and they're all chained up, and
Yeah.
they go, right. They're kind of sending each other some signals. They're giving each other some looks. They go, right, when this happens, we're going to do this. We're going to escape. This is going to happen. And we're like, yeah, go on. And this guy must roll a natural 20 because he went up in the air in slow motion. He does this like scissor kick. He flicks the chain, which is around his ankle, like a whip, like 50 yards into the bunch of goblin orc things. They all fall down like 10-pin bowling. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want my players at the table to do. I always tell my players, just go out of your mind in terms of, you tell me what you want to do, and then you roll a dice. This guy went, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go martial art monks on these guys. And they rolled a 20. And it was like, yeah. And then they're all scrambling around. They all break their chains, and they're getting out. And then one goes down. They're like, oh, no. And then they're fighting a bit more. And then, oh, no, another one goes down. Like, man, we thought they were going to escape. Again, sorry, spoilers. And then they're fighting away. And you think, the fight doesn't end. You get 10 minutes. They're still fighting. You're like, this is amazing. It was great. It was like, wow. And then the characters that come in, you're like, okay, we see these people, we see that. But who is the stranger? So you start labeling people. Well, I've seen the films loads of times. I read the books. I know it's going to be this person. And you get to the last episode and they go, oh, it's this person. You're like, what? No way. Yeah. And then the slight spoiler again. There's other names. And like, man, why did you... They knew on purpose that the audience would go mental. Halfway through the film, when the name was revealed, the audience are going to go on Twitter, what the fuck is going on? And then they spin it on the audience on purpose. They go, ha ha, gotcha.
Yeah, it's clear they're doing a lot of misdirection, right? On like various different characters. Like that's
that's the thing. You never know if it's misdirection or if it's right, and you're always keep on guessing till they get to that point. But that's what gets you hooked to keep on watching and figuring out, was I right? Was I wrong? I thought it was this, but then you don't think that, and then you're like, no, wait, it sounds like it is. And I think that's the hook of the show. Like they keep you, because there's no surprises. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the hook is on how they show you what's going on and who's doing what and what ends up being what. So it's that's a merit to the show. I mean,
I think there was so much, because a lot of it is based on the appendices, isn't it?
yes.
And you kind of see some bits and you think, oh, okay, how does that tie in with this? And why is this location look like that location? What's going on here? And you just, it's just more story in that world, and I loved it.
Yes.
I was, I'm looking forward to, I mean, if the other seasons are as good as that one, I really enjoyed it. This is gonna be around for the next few years. We'll be talking about this at various conventions. I will be very happy. And apparently it cost something, ridiculous amount of money.
billion.
Was it?
$1 billion to produce it.
Yeah.
That's for the 4 seasons, though.
Yes, that's for everything.
Oh yeah.
It's 35 million an episode or something ridiculous. And you think,
Yeah, I mean that's
wow.
the thing. They wanted the full like cinema experience.
Yeah. I think it is. I think if you watch this as a box set,
Yep. That's an 8-hour movie, basically.
Yeah.
When you're looking. That's the level of the production and
you're
the
looking,
scenes. I mean, just the environments, and every time you get a wide shot and you see the whole length of a new city or a place of power, it's just, it feels like when you were watching the movies for the first time, they show you for the
Yeah.
first time, you know, the White City or Lothlorien or. Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good. I just cut off to Andor. That's another one
Yeah.
of those. I love Star Wars. I see everything that comes up. Some of it I feel better than some other things, but this show I've enjoyed a lot because it's just political. It's a spy game inside of the context of Star Wars, which is two things I enjoy. So
Yeah. And Andor hasn't finished yet. We watched the most
Yeah.
recent episode, and it ends, and I'm like,
yeah,
is that it?
yeah.
What happens now? I mean, the whole
Yeah.
thing has been. I think Andor has been It's been good. It's been very slow.
Yes,
This whole
it's
kind
very
of
paced.
yeah.
The pace is very slow cooking.
Yeah, we're doing this kind of. It's a heist show, basically.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, that most recent episode where they kind of no spoilers as such, but they get the gold kind of thing. They get the gold. That whole thing, because the tension has been building so much. As a viewer, you're like, whoa, what's going on? This is absolutely crazy. It's just too much. Steve's gone all quiet. He's used that time to progress. You see.
Because I haven't seen Rings
Six.
of Power
Yeah, Steve's
or
put
Andor
16
yet.
more layers of color.
Yeah.
Steve's model is now like artistically three-dimensional, like in every way possible. It's broke the fourth wall. It looks fantastic, and I love that. I love that when people do that kind of stuff where it's like, I saw someone do a paint job on some Ultramarines online, both Necrons and Ultramarines, and just same thing. The models look just like what Steve's got here, like just high colors, and they used dry brushing and some airbrushing I think was used as well. But it just looked so cool. It was so different. Like when you first saw it, it was like, whoa, it catches you off guard because you're just used to seeing them a certain way, right? And
Yeah.
But then the more I was looking at these pictures, I'm like, how awesome would it be if you had an entire army that was like that? Like you'd blow everybody up. Like to pull that out and put it on a table, like 2,000 point army or something, would just be like amazing. Like you'd have everybody in the room coming over to look at that army and look at that set, right?
Go on, Steve.
I thought it was really cool.
I've been tempted by Warhammer not to play the game. I don't think I would be into playing the game, but I would love to paint an army. But that's an undertaking. I think we'd have to have
See, Games Workshop.
less on at the time.
And you can for about $1,000.
Yeah. It'll only cost you
Yeah.
the next 1 year of your life.
Yeah, and the next 1 year of your life.
So one of the most impactful videos I watched was one of Angel Heraldez videos.
Yeah.
And he was painting a Minotaur, and it was a little short video where he had a series of parts to this where he was painting the whole model. And the one that I watched in particular was when he was painting the horns. So it was how to paint bone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a simple technique that you start with like a really dark brown, and basically you just sort of layer up from there. So you do the whole thing in dark brown, then you do it in lighter shades and lighter shades, really thin coats that's watered down paint. So you build up this level of colour away from the base of the horn, and it just puts texture, it puts depth in, and it was just amazing to watch. And now I can't paint teeth or bone any other way other than using that technique, because it looks so good and it's so easy to do. and I think there's a lot of other things you can paint in exactly the same way just by layering the colour, as you know, Josh was saying earlier with dry brushing. Whatever technique you use, but layering colour on to create depth just changes the way the mini looks amazingly.
Yep, that's the secret. Got those eyes. That was a little pinpoint too, but it worked. Good. All right. Now we're going to try this wash and see how this turns out.
We are less than 10 minutes away, guys.
That should be enough. I got a question. Wash and then dry brush, or dry brush and then wash?
Dry brush then wash. Because if you dry brush, you can end up with powder all over the mini, which can make it look furry. So if you wash afterwards, it knocks all of the powder back and gives it a smoother finish. So I guess it depends on what sort of finish you want on it.
I prefer that as well. I prefer the washing as the last step after the dry brushing.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it does kind of smooth it out from what I've found. Mike, where are you at on this?
I think the same thing. One of the first things I do is dry brush everything I need to dry brush, and then see how that looks before I move on.
Yep.
Is that what you do, or you're asking just?
That's what I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. I like to dry brush. I like to wash last.
Yes.
When I first started, I did it the opposite way. I would always end with a dry brush, like this, like, oh, I'll put that little light
Yeah,
fleck
the end,
kind of at
yeah.
the very end, right? And what happens, right? I always got that sort of
Just
flaky,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of flaky, powdery look all over the model. Where if you get the color shading right and you get the dry brushing right, and then you put that wash over it, it kind of smooths everything over, and it just, I don't know, looks. I like it better that way. I like how this wash is working out. Although I might have used the wrong one. I did, but I love how it looks. I wanted to use the earth shade on the bottom. And I used the sepia instead. But I like the way it looks. Oh, yeah.
Kelly in live chat. He says Dave controls the vertical. Dave controls the horizontal. Yeah, you know it. Yes, I do. He also goes on to say, "This is my favourite show." Thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to do a shout out and thank Epic Encounters for sending a box over this way.
Yeah.
Across the ocean.
Well, we got they were very, very generous as well. So every guest painter and Josh as well, because we knew that Josh was going to be co-hosting. They sent out a box to all of our guests, which was great. Yeah, so I echo that. Thank you very much, Steamforged.
Yeah, they've been really good.
We want to do more.
their stand at Games Expo was just swamped the entire time.
Yeah, it was not big enough for that
No.
for that crowd. It was not big enough. I think they underestimated that.
And they were running games as well. You know,
Yeah.
they weren't just manning the stands. They was running off to run games. You know, they've got all the knowledge as well. If you want to talk about anything, it wasn't just Epic that they had there either. They had God Tier. They had Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game.
I've got that. I've never played God Tier. Looks cool.
The minis look fantastic.
Yeah, the minis are amazing. Again, Steam Forge games, the minis are always amazing anyway. But for Bard Song and for God Tier, you can buy them. They're much like this. You can buy the minis. Their bases are large mini size, even though they're not necessarily the right size, because they use them for like the bosses and stuff. So you get like a boss, and then you get a bunch of minions. And the idea is that it's a strategy combat game on a board. You get a piece of land. Something's on that land somewhere, but you know where it is. You just got to get your pieces to it. And you might have one army, or you might control two armies, like 2 lieutenants and their minions. And each type of minion, much like Epic Encounters, has a different movement rate and has a different combat effect. But only your lieutenant can take the piece on the land. And when you get there, you put a flag up. So then your opponent has to go, right, I can't take that land until I get rid of the flag. To get rid of the flag, the opponent may have blocked it with some of the minions. And you got to work out, okay, well, how do I fight these minions? And as you fight them, you go, oh, look, they're resistant to fire. I better use something else. And it's really good. It's fast paced as well. You win very, very quickly, but it's not about that. It's like, okay, right, I won that game, point to me. Next game, here we go. So it's like a game of cards.
Right.
Now you're like, right, okay, who's going to win this one?
Quick
10
turn,
minutes.
but
Yeah.
it can go. Yeah.
And then it's like, who gets to 5 points for the first? Right, okay. It's not just about one game. It's going to take 3 hours. This game takes 10 minutes around. And it's good. And you get... There's obviously like the humans and elves and dwarves versus undead and liches and ghosts and goblins and stuff like that. And then there are the in-between characters. There are goblins who are good. But it's all down to you. It doesn't matter. You can have a race of angels and devils, and you're playing both of them against your opponent might have elves and humans, but you've got angels and demons. It's phenomenal.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Right, we are there, Steve. It is brushes down. And then, Mike, your last job is to pick a winner for the gold star. Excuse me. Right. And Mike has been posting pictures on Twitter, so thank you very much, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Right, Steve, you need to shove it under the camera.
Just got paint out. Let me just not waste
Stop,
my paint.
Steve.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
We're already
Yeah.
dead. He's still beating us in the ground.
I hate wasting paint.
Yeah, that's right. Steve's still painting. I'm putting my final wash.
Right, I'm done.
I'm done. So mine's not complete, but you can see it there.
Yes.
So I've got like maggoty colours. I've got the green flesh. Picking up some of the highlights on his belly. You can see he's got stretched. The maggot is coming out from under his own skin. It is nasty. Most of the stuff I've left is going to be metallics, so I need to work that out. But
I love, Dave, that you've grown as a painter, because it looks really solid. Like the colors, the way that you go about it is also super clean.
Yep.
That's cool. That's very encouraging for anybody that heard your story about just starting and learning throughout this whole show, because
It's
you
literally
see
just.
this.
I think it is just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, it is.
Do a show like this, and you'll always be painting. Yeah, there you go.
And I don't know which way to take, because Josh did a really good job. I mean, it's the same
Yeah.
model basically, but Josh went in a direction to do. He kind of brought up all this, the transparency of the skin, and Steve did a wonderful, like, just the technique for melding the colors is just, it looks like it's dawn all over the creature. So I'm gonna give the star to Steve this time.
Well done, Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's
But,
definitely Steve. It's definitely Steve on this one. I love the the color is
the selection,
color is amazing.
the selection of colors, the construct between the blue and all the shades of the fire, it's good. I love it.
Yep. Yeah, the blue was a nice touch there on the
Yes.
tip. Like that
Yeah.
that looks so good, man. Yeah, that is awesome.
Have you got some orange in there as well, or is that
Yeah.
just highlight?
That's orange highlight on the leg.
Yeah. You need to get some photos done, Steve. So Steve has something else in his armory as well. He has those bell jars, and I want to see some photos of that.
Yeah, I will. That's for the beholder that I still haven't finished. So next time we do a hangout, I'm going to finish that, and yes, that is going inside the bell jar.
I think Steve's colours are epic. I think Josh, because it looks so rotten, it looks rotten and undead and quite disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll put some images up. I want to see some images of that though, Steve, like how that
I will take some pictures of that. Put it on my Instagram.
Cool. I will switch our
I
cameras
do like the
round.
colours that you chose, Josh. That's a really nice pastel palette.
yeah, I think the gray and the gray and the purple definitely it achieved what I was going for, right?
Yeah.
If you switch your
That
camera around,
that ghoulish kind of look. It definitely achieved what I was going for. Yeah, I mean, I like the way I like the way it turned out. Yep, but I definitely want to see some of the close up images of those colors on your Instagram.
I will.
I
cool.
want to see that.
And then we're going to leave it, folks. Mike, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to have a catch up and see you again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
For
Mike.
example, if you haven't seen it, check out our Witchlight a couple of episodes. We did the kind of like the beginning. We're trying to get back to it next year. We've been doing these shows, and this is what we're doing. So, but we're going to get Mike back on as soon as we can. Whether it's Witchlight, whether it's something else, we've got some plans coming.
We do have some plans.
Mike, where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter at the Mike Valles, and also on Twitch and Instagram. I also do my rounds going around the convention circuit. We run a bunch of events for role-playing games in Spanish and for the Latin community. We try to bridge it up. We actually do have a podcast in Spanish to talk about the industry, board games, what's going on, community events, and all that stuff. You can watch on Twitter or Instagram where we go on different trips and put it up there.
Cool, fantastic. So do check out. I was going to say check out Mike, but he's got a missus. Everyone, he's taken.
Yeah.
He's spoken for. But go say hi. he's got tons of stuff of his convention stuff and his and the cosplay. So do check out. Again, amazing stuff. Josh, thank you very much again for joining us. Where can people find you?
Absolutely. At the McGuire Review, pretty much everywhere out there. On Twitter, it is just at McGuire or at the McGuire, but pretty much everywhere else, it's at the McGuire Review. So check it out on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
Cool. Steve, you're back in the UK. Where can people find you?
Here.
Yeah, there you go. Nowhere. Nowhere but here. I have
you can find me on
exclusivity.
Twitter, but I don't. No, not Twitter. What's the other one?
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Yellow Pages.
On
Not
Instagram now.
CFAX.
CFAX. Radio. Was it shortwave radio?
Shortwave radio.
Yeah, Steve the Trucker. Right, we're going to leave it there, folks. But do check us out on YouTube. If you have any comments or questions, do put. If you're watching this on YouTube, do put it in the comments below. If you're watching this live on Twitch, it's too late. You should have asked your questions earlier when we were painting. We're going to go home now. Well, we're home, but we're going now. See you later. Be good. See you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.